Pittsburgh. So, hi Tom, thanks for joining me.
Oh, hey, Doug. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks for all your nice words.
Hey, no problem. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what you're doing, and anything exciting happening in the future for you?
Sure. Well, thanks, Doug. Well, I'm the Vice President of Programs at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Greater Pittsburgh, and first got involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters when I graduated from college. It was the first thing that I did right out of school, and I got matched up with my little brother, Preston, who was 10 years old at the time. Very proud to say that he's now 20 years old. He's going into his sophomore year of college. It's been an incredible lifelong friendship, and it's just something that's really positively affected me as well, and I hope it's had a good influence on him too. So it's been just great being involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters for a long time. So I work here as the Vice President of Programs. I do a lot of our outreach, community affairs, working with our program staff. We work with over 1,150 mentors every year, and we work with 1,150 plus mentees every year, little brothers and little sisters. So it's a great program, the largest mentoring program on this side of the state, and just having a great time working with a terrific team here at Big Brothers Big Sisters. Outside of work, I have my own organization, Baker Leadership, now becoming its own nonprofit, which is a very fun process as well. Get Involved Inc. Everything should be finalized with our to become an actual 501c3 just in the next week or two, actually. So we got a great team in place, a great board of directors, and staff and everyone that's working really hard. The goal behind Get Involved, really when I graduated from college, my wife and I were both really active at Millersville University. I'd been student body president for 2 years and president of my fraternity. Just really enjoyed making a difference on campus. And what my wife and I found when we moved here to Pittsburgh was that a lot of our friends from college, people your age, Doug, and a little bit younger, were having a tough time making that transition from college to the working world. And that's really where Get Involved started. That's really where the first book came out. I was just hoping that 20 and 30-somethings could stay active, could make a difference, and find the avenues to do that.
That's great. And I've read your book, Get Involved. I loved it. When I went out to lunch with you, you gave me a copy, and I read it in a few days. It was a quick and easy read, but definitely inspired me to get involved. And in fact, after I read it, I thought, I wish I would have thought of this concept of get involved.
I could see you writing the follow-up book, absolutely. That's great.
Will you do the forward?
It's a fun book. It's an easy read. It's really just telling people in our 20s and 30s, nonprofit organizations need our assistance. If there's things you enjoy doing in middle school, high school, college, find ways to do those things. If you're passionate about sports, the arts, history, whatever it is that fires you up, whatever you would do, if money didn't matter and you and I were both multi-millionaires and we never had to work a day in our lives, even though between Lay Life and Big Brothers Big Sisters, I have a feeling we'd still both be involved with the groups that we work with on a professional level. Even though that, so if you had all the money in the world and you had to wake up every morning and do something that really fired you up, what would it be? And find the organizations that are fulfilling those missions and find a way to get entrenched there and to make a difference.
That's great. If you had to share one or two of your favorite nuggets out of that book to whet people's appetite for, what would you share?
Yeah. I think part of it too, Doug, is just especially for people maybe right out of college, and this is a concept I really believe in, which is failing forward. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. You're going to get looked over for jobs. You're going to get looked over for opportunities, for scholarships, for fellowships. You might apply for a leadership program that you think you'd be a great fit for. You don't get in. You might say, I want to be on a board of directors, and it just doesn't work out that time. A good little quick failing forward story for me. Out of grad school, and while I was in grad school, I really learned that I wanted to manage nonprofits. It was something that I was passionate about. So I applied to be the executive director of PUMP, the Pittsburgh Urban Magnet Project, which is the largest young professionals organization in Western PA. Came in the final 3, and it came down to the stretch, and didn't end up getting the job. They said, hey, we like you. We're not going to hire you, but we like you. Would you want to co-chair Discover Pittsburgh? Co-chaired Discover Pittsburgh for 2 years, got on the board of directors, became the board president. So even though I didn't end up becoming the executive director, board president is a neat role as well. So it was just an example of failing forward. Also lost for school board back in '05. Took a lot of the things that I learned from that lesson, from that opportunity and that experience. Took those, and then in this last primary, won on the Republican and Democratic sides for school board. So I think we can we can learn just as much when we do fail sometimes.
That's great. And I just thought of this question, but a lot of us young professionals are aspiring authors. And do you have any advice for first-time authors? I think it's great you've published one book and you have an audio book.
Yeah. I would say just write. Have a system in place where you yourself even voicemail. Sometimes I'll call and just leave myself a voicemail with ideas. I find with all the speaking that I do throughout the country, sometimes, I'll be driving back from college at 10 o'clock at night, and I'll just start leaving myself voicemails, or I'll find myself pulling off to the side of the road to make sure that I jot down some ideas for either my second book or other opportunities. So I think just making sure that you're continually thinking, and don't worry about it being perfect the first time around. You'll work with an editor, you'll work with a team, a designer. There's other people that'll kind of help you on your journey. So just get the ideas out there, and don't worry about it being perfect the first time. When I first started writing Get Involved, making most of your 20s and 30s, actually, the first time, the first book, it was much more formulaic, and it was just a very much like a how-to guide. And then my wife was like, mix it up, tell us some stories. As readers, we want to hear some stories. And that's really what I added a lot more, and I think it's made it more successful. And it's been a good journey. It came out in March of 2008, traveled to over 100 colleges, organizations, spoken with about 20,000 people about it. And it's just been an amazing, truly amazing and touching journey, honestly.
Great. And for the person watching who maybe they're in their young 20s, they could be in their 30s or 40s, and they've never really gone after anything in life. They never tried to get involved, but they feel that urge inside. I want to be a part of something bigger than myself. I want to get involved. What would you tell that person? Just
show up, I think, is part of it, too. Maybe the exercise we talked about earlier where they think about what they're passionate about and really kind of finding that. But I'm a big believer in goal setting. I was on Night Talk on my 32nd birthday, which was a couple of weeks ago. So I did Night Talk. I was speaking in Erie the next morning. So my wife and I were driving to Erie late at night. The show ended at 9 o'clock. And she's like, so what do you want to talk about? And I was like, what I would love to do for my 32nd birthday is do some goal setting. So we sat down. I was driving. She took some notes. And I came up with 32 goals for my 32nd birthday. I don't care what age you are. Come up with some ideas of things that you want to do, that you'd like to accomplish. And it doesn't matter if it's being in your community theater, president of a board, a mentor, involved at your church, whatever it is, put it out there. And the more likely, if you put things out there, if you share your goals with your loved ones, and I do this on the first of the year every year as well, setting goals for the year. When you put your goals out there, you're a lot more accountable to it. And make sure you look back on them as well. So that's a big thing, I think. Just showing up. You've come to Morning Mix, Doug. It's a fun event that we do here in the region. We just had it this morning, actually. Our guest speakers were Senator Pippi and Councilwoman Natalia Rudiak. I mean, how, just hanging, literally, if people showed up for the, 15, 20 people that showed up, they got to hang out, spend time with, learn from Councilwoman Rudiak, Senator John Pippi, both people who accomplished a lot, both got elected to high-level offices in their 20s. So we talked about, how do young people impress other people? How do they, to make sure that they get their message out there in a positive way? We talked about Democrats and Republicans working together. Senator Pippi, a very strong Republican, Councilman Rudiak, a strong Democrat, bringing people together and bridging that gap. I mean, that's what it's all about. So events like that, and Doug, with a lot of the Get Involved programming we do, there's just a lot of opportunities to meet other people, to get connected. For my wife and I, when I moved back here in 2003, it was programs like the Coro Center for Civic Leadership. It was organizations like Pump that really got me going on this civic journey here in the region. So just go out, try a networking event, just go there. If you don't know anyone, who cares? There's a lot of nice people here in our region and throughout the country. Just talk to somebody.
That's great. And for those listening who maybe they've gotten involved in the past, they're entrenched, and they're just looking to grow in their leadership, go to the next level, do you have any advice for them? They've been in it. They're going after that next promotion. They're going after this or that. What would you tell them?
I would say, always stick around people that you think might be a couple, maybe rungs above you professionally. I think that's a good idea. I love to do informational interviews. Have you ever done one, Doug?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. So the quick definition on an informational interview, it's just getting together with somebody who you would aspire to be a little bit more like someday, you share interests with, you think that their professional role sounds fascinating. So some examples of people that I've gotten together with, Luke Skirman, who's the CEO of College Prowler, just thought it was an amazing concept what he was doing there, younger than me actually. Two gentlemen that I think are truly amazing, Bill Eisler, who's the president of family of the Mr. Rogers, now the Mr. Rogers Company, and an amazing story, president of the school board for a long time in Pittsburgh. Also Bill Flanagan, who's the vice president of the Allegheny Conference. He hosts our region's business on WPXI. So there's a lot of interesting people here. So just scheduling time with them, saying, I'm interested in learning more about you. I'd love to get together, share coffee, share lunch, and really just kind of picking their brain a little bit. Again, it's an informational interview. It's not a job interview. So it really is all about just kind of learning from them, taking down some notes, and hopefully developing a friendship that'll last a long time.
Yeah, that's great.
And they're fun too, right? I mean, I got to hear stories. I mean, Mr. Rogers growing up for me, I always thought I grew up in Greenfield, Squirrel Hill, so I was kind of from Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. But to learn from Mr. Eisler, who literally spent his whole professional career with Mr. Rogers, amazing lessons from a professional leader like that.
I'd love to get your notes from that lunch.
yeah, absolutely. It's pretty neat.
That's great. Hey, and if someone wanted to get a part, to connect with you, be a part of what you're doing, be a part of Big Brothers, Big Sisters, or anything that you're doing, how would they get connected?
Yeah, so let's start with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. If people are interested in getting involved with our organization, our website is just bbbspgh.org, bbbspgh.org, for Big Brothers, Big Sisters, pgh.org. That's our website. They can contact me directly as well, just tbaker@bbbspgh.org. If people are interested in maybe get involved with one of our coalition groups, if they'd like to be a big, I can definitely talk to them a little bit more about that as well. We definitely are in need of bigs right now, Doug, so any of your viewers, we'd love to talk to you about getting involved. You got to be over 21, you got to have a car, you got to have an interest in making a difference and working with a child. I mean, that's really what it's all about. To get involved, if people want to get involved with us, we have tons of programs going on. We have our monthly Power Hour series. We bring different leaders together. That's on our website, bakerleadership.com. We also have the Morning Mix, which I talked about a little bit earlier. We have a service summit here in the region, which will be March. And I think you're actually going to make the journey out with us October 12th. We're doing a service summit as well in Harrisburg, our first South Central PA service summit. So I think that's going to be a great opportunity as well. And it's all about collaboration. What I love to see, and I think what a lot of my collaborators and get involved and at work here, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, we just want to see people be active. There's no reason to be bored in the city of Pittsburgh, literally. And that's even before our baseball team was good. There's no reason to be bored in the city.
How about that call last night?
That call was unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable in the 19th inning. So not good. But the Pirates have been amazing this year, and it's so nice to see sellouts, and that's what it was like. You know, when I was growing up here in the late 80s, early 90s, that's how the team was. So it's great to see them back after almost 2 decades. Yeah. With some winning baseball. But no reason to be bored. Always an organization that needs your passion, a child that needs your support and your guidance. There's just always something to be involved. And there's tons of events. You know this, Doug. There's tons of events here in the community. So bakerleadership.com is just our website. We'd love to have you out to a program. And again, feel free to keep in touch with me, anyone watching today. And again, I should mention Doug Smith, a great guy to know. So anyone viewing the show, I think Doug would be a good person to learn from as well. So a lot of great people here in the region, and you're definitely one of them, Doug.
Thanks, Tom. Any last pieces of advice for us?
Oh, just stay busy. Don't get off your couches. Don't play Madden on your PlayStation until after 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Get out there. Just stay off your couches. Join an organization. Run in a 5K. I know you're a big runner now too, Doug. I've been a big runner and run a half marathon. Set some goals with that as well. There's Pittsburgh Sports League. Play a sport. Do theater. Sing a karaoke night. Just do something creative, something that takes you outside of your comfort zone, and I'm sure that you'll like Pittsburgh even a little bit more.
That's great. You got me fired up to go get involved with something.
Yeah,
so
there you go. Very good, Doug. I love it.
Hey, thank you so much for your time, Tom. I appreciate it. I love what you're doing, and keep it up.
Okay, thanks, Doug. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.